What's going on, guys? This is Devon with Gaming in Progress, and this week has been really a busy week. And let me, just before we get into all this, as you guys can see here, I've got plenty of the Division beta footage for you guys, showing you guys the comparison between Xbox One and PlayStation 4, how it looked. But before we get into all this, I just wanted to take the time and say it's been a busy week because, like, everything came out this week. The Division beta came out this week. Then we have Black Ops, the Awakening DLC coming out. I still have to find time to fucking play through that and figure out if I want to do something on that. And also, Star Citizen has like a freebie week thing going on right now too. So I've been playing Star Citizen, trying to decide if I like it or not. So it's been an interesting week, been a busy week, and so that's kind of why things are a little bit slow for me this week. Not to mention going through the grueling process of going through all the footage I captured both in the live stream and through privately while this beta was going on both systems. It was a very grueling process because I have so much fucking footage. So anyway, getting into the beta, I had a lot of fun playing the Division beta. It was really an amazing experience for me, both playing it by myself, those first several hours I was streaming on Xbox One before I finally linked up with people, and playing it right off the bat on PlayStation. Right off the bat I was playing it with friends because I had more people playing it on PlayStation than I did on Xbox. Friend-wise, but one of the great things that came out of the Division beta on Xbox was I actually met some people in game that I ended up linking up together with and playing with. So as you guys can see here in the footage, the beta pretty much runs the same on either system. It might look slightly different here and there, and then some of this earlier footage you guys are gonna be seeing. It's gonna be kind of hard to compare the two perfectly accurately because, I mean, one thing that I thought was interesting is my experience in both betas was different in certain ways. When I loaded into the Xbox One beta, I started out at night and then it progressed to day, and in the PlayStation 4 beta it was the opposite. It was starting morning, daytime, and then it progressed to nighttime and stuff. But you guys will see plenty of areas where you can see the similarities in both. When we go to the hospital and do the hospital mission, you'll see that. And also when we get back to the base after doing the hospital mission, you'll see elements of the similarities in that as well. I gotta say, the beta ran pretty well on both systems. I didn't really have any issue with loading times or anything like that. Yeah, when you go into the dark zone, you have to load. When you first start up the game, you have to load, but other than that, there's no loading screens. So there's 2 loading screens for the whole fucking game. And I noticed, one thing I noticed, a lot of people are comparing this game to Destiny. Well, Destiny has some of the longest fucking loading screens I've ever in any next gen game. And Destiny, it's you go from the last city on to fucking what the hell is that place? The one place on Earth, the only place you could go on Earth that isn't the city. Old Russia. Yeah, you go to Old Russia from Earth and you get this 5-10 minute loading screen. I don't even remember how the fuck long it was, but it's they try and hide the loading screen behind your ship being in orbit and traveling to place, but that's so fucking boring because you can't do anything with the ship. It's literally just there taunting you oh, you thought you could fly me? No, you can't do anything. So basically the ship is the most useless cosmetic feature in any game I've ever seen. And yet they have the audacity to have different rarities of ships and stuff. It's so stupid. And like that's another thing, you can't really compare the Division to Destiny because the Division is all one map. You load in, and other than going to the Dark Zone, that's it. You've got the whole city of Manhattan. Whereas Destiny, it's like you have all these planets, but you only get like small chunks of each of these planets to play on, and it's something I've never really liked, and something that's always infuriated me. But anyway, getting back to the beta, the Division beta. It did run pretty much the same on both systems. You had like the two loading screens you would go through, one when the initial boot up, one when you got into the Dark Zone. Graphically, they seem about the same to me. One thing I thought was interesting is you like actually have like tweaking options. You can turn on like turn on or off like that little bit of grain it has. That's supposed to be like cinematic grain, I guess. It's funny because it was used to be a thing like old movies had, and you've seen it on other games before, like Alien Isolation had something similar. Excuse me, that you could turn on and off. It seems to be becoming a more popular thing to have a feature to turn on and off. You also have like detail, like, or was it like render distance or something like that, and I just cranked it up all the way to 100 on both, and the game looks, even in the beta, looks really good. It looks really good in the beta. I can imagine that the full game is going to look a lot more polished, probably closer to what we've seen in some of the trailers for the game. Maybe not the 2013 trailer, but it'll look a lot better than it did in the beta, and it looked pretty good in the beta. It didn't look like super duper real life-ish or anything, but it looked good, and there were a lot of details in the game that kind of made up for the fact that it didn't look as good as we were initially led to believe. Like, the Snowdrop engine is amazing. And there's so many little details in the game too, like the way the wind blows in different directions and it doesn't go through buildings, the way that it'll blow like snow off of things, the way when it starts having a snowstorm, like when there's a snowstorm, you'll actually get covered with snow, and then once the snowstorm like lets up and the sun comes out, that snow kind of melts away and stuff like that. All these little things in this game that make this world real and believable. And I'm really glad that the game ran pretty well on both systems. I did notice, I think it was, I got disconnected a couple times, I think, on the Xbox One. When the beta first started up, I don't think there was as many players in the Xbox One beta as there were the PlayStation 4 beta. Maybe there was, I'm not sure, but it seemed like when the PlayStation 4 beta launched, it was a little bit more hiccupy in the servers. I'm sure that's something that can be fixed as time progresses. I'm not really too concerned about it. I think it'll be a stable game at launch. I think it'll be like Rainbow Six Siege, where it'll be good at launch, won't have really anything to deal with. And even as good as Rainbow Six Siege was, in my opinion, at launch, they were still improving on it, and they're still improving on it now with all this free DLC and stuff. That's something else I have to get back to, is Rainbow Six Siege. You know, the problem with being a gamer is you have, like, all these games you want to play, but you never have enough time to play them all. You guys feel what I'm saying here? You never have enough time to play all the games that you want to play. It's like you make time for this game, make time for that game, but you just want to, you get into a point where you play one game and you just end up playing that game for too long, and then you're like, oh fuck, I took away from time for this game. So, but the beta was a lot of fun. Let me see. I'm trying to talk about like everything I can think of here. Like the animals in the game, they felt lifelike. You'd be walking through the streets, you'd see birds, you'd see rats, you'd see dogs. One time in the Xbox beta, actually, I saw a dog taking a shit. No lie. The dog was like squatted down and he took a poop and trotted off. It was fucking awesome. You've never sounded, probably the only time you fucking hear somebody sound excited about poop, am I right? But like, this buddy, one of the people I played with, as you guys probably know by now, was Mundane Matt, and we were playing together, and it was me, Matt, my pal Brian, who you guys have seen on the channel before, And he walked up to this bird, and he's kind of like just stopped what he was doing, and I think this is in the Dark Zone. He was watching this bird try and like catch a rat, and Brian ended up shooting the fucking bird and ruining the whole thing. But it was an interesting experience because it felt so lifelike, seeing like this one animal just trying to get this other animal and eat it, because, you know, fucking birds eat rats and shit, you know. I didn't see anything like in GTA 5 where fucking shit, what the hell is his name? Not Trevor, not Michael, fucking I don't remember. Franklin. It's been so long since playing GTA. Franklin was actually the character I played the most too. There was nothing where Franklin's, like in GTA, where Franklin's dog Chop was like humping another dog or anything. Didn't see anything like that. Supposedly I missed this part where one of the NPCs was like in an alleyway giving birth, and that's another thing too, is like there's so, like, unlike in Destiny, where it's just like enemies in this alien world that's supposed to be still somehow Earth. It seems like something like they got from Defiance and just like slapped it together. Oh god, Defiance. The show was good, but the fucking game was just ass. But the fucking thing about The Division is like, it's like, it feels believable. It's not like Destiny, where you're in this world that seems so unrealistic. The Division feels realistic. The fact that Directive 51 is a real thing, and there's rumors like that SHD, Strategic Homeland Defense, is like a real division, and like this because Directive 51, if the president were to declare a catastrophic emergency, Directive 51 would actually go into effect. And the idea of transmitting a virus during on banknotes, or as we call them, dollar bills, transmitting a virus on dollars during Black Friday would be like the fucking perfect way to spread a virus. Because it would fucking work, because everybody every Black Friday pretty much goes out, spends a bunch of money, and even if you don't spend money on Black Friday itself, you go out maybe the day after Black Friday, or the day after that, or maybe the day before, or whatever. It gets spread around. Money changes hands so many times, it's not even funny. And then all the banks reuse money so much too, like and I know this through working retail. You get a store makes a certain amount of money, and then at the end of the day or throughout the day, they'll do bank drops. Any retail store pretty much does this, and at least some of the ones I've seen. Retail stores, they do a bank run, they deposit a certain amount of money, and then they might also get money back. Like they might give they might deposit like $400 in like $100 bills or something, but they'll ask for like $100 back in a stack of 1s or 5s or whatever they need, and they'll also get change and stuff like that, and these stores do this. And so even if you don't come in direct contact with the money on Black Friday, chances are that money has made it to a bank, that money gets redistributed, and then even if you weren't there on the Black Friday sale, you could be going to cash your check the following day and be getting that money that's contaminated with the virus. It's fucking believable. You get what I'm saying here? It could work. And that's just everything about this game. Everything that helps make this game seem believable is also what immerses you in the game. Like, I streamed for almost 11 hours, and not once was I bored. Was I tired? Fucking sure I was. I was tired as shit, but I kept wanting to play and explore the world of The Division. And there's so much to explore. Like going through these buildings that are in that connect to apartment complexes, and you can go in and you can search like the different rooms and find like what was people's lives in these rooms, like stuff scattered about, like they left in a hurry. And you go through the fridge and you actually open the fridge and take a look inside, and maybe you find something, maybe you don't. But just there's so many little details that make this game so believable. It immerses you in the story, and that's what separates this game from Destiny, is Destiny failed to immerse players well enough in the story. Yeah, I'm sure plenty of players who were dedicated to get the most out of Destiny took the time to go to the website and read all the lore cards and stuff like that, but Destiny fell on its face by not implementing the story good enough. You felt so disconnected. I felt disconnected, and I know I'm not the only person who feels this way, because so many people don't like Destiny. So many people are worried the Division is gonna be this year's Destiny, and that's how you know that fucking people don't like Destiny, because they say, they ask, is the Division gonna be this year's Destiny, and they ask it in a way that it seems like a bad thing, something you don't want. And that's true, because you don't want this to be this year's Destiny, and to me it's not, because the world is so immersive. You see so many things that make you believe it. You going down the street, a citizen's sick, they come up to you asking for a med kit or some pop or something to drink or something to eat or whatever, and you give it to them, and sometimes they'll have a reward for you, like they'll give you a piece of clothing or a gas mask or something, filtration mask, sorry. But sometimes they don't have anything to give you. Sometimes they just can't do it. They just give you just get like experience points, and you get experience either way, whether you get like a reward like clothing or not. But sometimes all you get is experience, because it wouldn't be realistic for every citizen you encounter that you help to have something to give you in return. It's just not believable in this post-apocalyptic world. But that's really what separates this game from Destiny, is the way that the game immerses you, really. And I can go on and on, because there's so many little finite details that make the game immersive. Like, if you go, I mean, there's a couple things that kind of take away from that immersion, like, the enemy NPCs will say too many times, "He got Alex!" And that's something I've brought up before in other videos, but that's not really a big thing. Like, if you look at any of the missing person posters, you can see actual pictures of people. You can make out some of the information on these posters. If you look at the billboards, all the billboards are different and unique looking from one another. If you look at the windows, you can actually see reflections of shit. It's not like that god-awful window reflection that buildings had in Watch Dogs, which was just so infuriating to so many people. But Watch Dogs in general was so infuriating to so many people. I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good game. I thought it could have looked a lot better, but I still had fun playing it. Like, if you look at some of the telephone poles, or no, electricity poles. Yeah, if you look at some of the electricity poles, you'll see like the posters that say like missing person, missing dog, whatever, and they have like the pull tabs. And if you actually look, the pull tabs, when like wind comes through and blows a certain direction, you can actually see the wind blowing the pull tabs. So you know they're not just like, it's not just like an image on there. It's like an actual it's like an actual live image, you know, where it's not just like plastered on the pole and it doesn't do anything, and it just looks so generic and fake. It actually blows in the wind and stuff, and it adds a little bit more realism to the world that you're in. Fire does actually melt shit in the Division. Like, if you explode somebody, like one of the cleaner guys, and they explode, and it's a big burst of fire, and you'll see the ice actually melt where the fire was. It's a nice little fucking detail. Granted, the snow and the ice does come back at some point, but it's nice that it still melts and stuff. The fact that you can, if there's cars littered throughout the world because there's no gas to fill up the cars, so people just abandon them. the fact that like you can go over the hoods and the trunks of cars, and if the hoods and trunks are open, they'll actually shut, and the same thing for the doors and stuff like that is all very nice. And there's like, really, there's just so many details in this game. The echo systems, like all the logs and stuff. I mean, that's stuff that we've seen before in Ubisoft games. The ecosystem, or the ecosystem is really cool though, because it's kind of got like, it does have a little bit of the Batman feel, but it's interesting because it helps piece together some of the stuff that's maybe outside of the story. Just kind of, it establishes the lore of the world without you having to leave the game, which I'm gonna keep bitching about until fucking Bungie does something about that, which they haven't yet. I mean, yeah, they've added the Taken King. Destiny has come a long way. To be fair, Destiny has come a long way, but did the Division at launch, I can say without a doubt, the Division at launch will have way more shit to do than Destiny did at launch. And that's a good thing. That means Ubisoft has learned from their mistakes. They don't want this to be the next Destiny. They don't want this to be the next Assassin's Creed Unity. And because of underperforming sales in Assassin's Creed Syndicate and Rainbow Six Siege, which Rainbow Six Siege is fucking it's a good game, and everybody should at least try it. And no, I'm not trying to be like a fucking Ubisoft shield or whatever, because I know I'm gonna get fucking criticized for actually saying Ubisoft did something right for once, but Ubisoft did do something right for once, both with Rainbow Six Siege and with the Division, and kind of even with Assassin's Creed Syndicate, though I didn't really get too into that game because so many other games came out and I kind of lost track of it, to be honest with you. But let's talk a little bit about the Dark Zone now. Get past all the little details and stuff that I've talked about for God only knows how long. I've been recording this for here already. Let's see, 21 minutes. Holy shit. Let's move on here a little bit and talk about the Dark Zone. And I might have to edit some of this down. We'll see. You go into the Dark Zone, and it's an entirely different experience from any other PvP experience you've had before, because it's not just player versus player, it's player versus enemy and player versus player at the same time. And that's something that's gonna set the Division apart from other MMOs, where other MMOs like Destiny, Star Trek Online, Defiance, stuff like that, they have like designated zones where you go into, and it's strictly player versus player, you know, fucking fight each other to the death and get rewards for it based on how you did. But the way the Dark Zone works is you don't have to do player versus player. Yeah, people can attack you, you can defend yourselves, or you can be a dick and attack people, or you can be a tick, which is something me, Mundane Matt, and the rest of our guys came up with, which is basically somebody who like tries to aggro a player into becoming a rogue agent. Because if you shoot somebody once, you don't become a rogue agent. But if they shoot you back and they shoot you like more than once, then they'll become a rogue agent, and then you get to kill them and not have any repercussions for it. But the Dark Zone is very interesting, simply because of the premise of it. You go in there to fight like high-level NPCs, look for good loot, maybe hit up the Dark Zone vendors, get some good shit through that. But you also have to worry about, you have to go, when you see other players, you have to assess the situation. Like when you're doing an extraction, you have to assess, like, okay, are these players here to extract their own loot? Are they here to cause trouble? What are they doing? Do they have loot to even extract? Stuff like that. And it keeps you on your feet. It keeps you on your toes, really, is the expression I meant to say. Because you don't really know what's going to happen. Every Dark Zone encounter with other players could be different. It could be a smooth extraction. At the last second, somebody could shoot a grenade in, and everybody could start shooting each other, and the whole thing goes to shit. You don't really know, and that's interesting and exciting and a new way to kind of tackle PvP. Granted, there are people out there like Mundane Matt who are gonna want like a dedicated PvP thing, and for those people, I hope it has that. I hope it has the Dark Zone and then like an arena mode where it's just like the regular PvP, fuck everybody up mode. That would be cool. But the Dark Zone is so interesting simply because it tackles PvP in a new way, where and you have such a big area too. Like the Dark Zone was kind of limited in the beta, but the whole Dark Zone is gonna be big. Sorry about that. It's gonna be a big area that you get to explore, and while you're exploring, you have to keep an eye out. Make sure you're not being followed. Make sure when you go around the corner, there isn't a squad of players waiting to gun you down, or a bunch of NPCs to gun you down. There was a couple of problems with the Dark Zone in the beta as I experienced them, and that falls with the Dark Zone chests. Now, we don't really know how the Dark Zone chests work. It's been speculated that they work on like a timer system. So every Dark Zone is instanced, and when you go into the Dark Zone, there's 25 players in the same Dark Zone you're in at max. And that's for the whole Dark Zone, regardless of like the level areas, because there are leveled areas. Like Dark Zone 1 is recommended for levels like 1 to 10, and then Dark Zone 2 is like 10 to 20 or whatever, and these are just examples. This isn't like how it actually works, but they're examples of like how the leveled zones work. But the Dark Zone counts as like the whole Dark Zone. So the whole Dark Zone is instanced. There'll be 25 players in that one Dark Zone. People leave, other people come in, and it'll be all randomized unless you're like playing with other players. Then obviously you guys will all be in the same Dark Zone. But it's inferred that the Dark Zone chests are time-based. Like when somebody in the zone activates one, well, nobody else can activate that one. And if that's the case, then that's causing problems, because there were so many times when me and my squad or my group, my fellow agents, would go up to a Dark Zone chest. We'd beat all the enemies that are defending the chest. We'd get up there and we couldn't open it, and that's infuriating. Especially because you have to be a certain level to open certain Dark Zone chests. So you go grind a bit, you go kill a bunch of enemies, maybe some players, you get to the required Dark Zone level, you come back, you can't open the chest because, well, now the icon to open it is gone. So if it's a timer-based thing, and like when anybody opens it in the Dark Zone, that means it can't be opened for a certain amount of time, that's going to be a problem. You guys have to, Ubisoft has to figure out a way to fix that. And that's really one of the only big problems with the Division as it stood in the beta, was the way the Dark Zone chests worked. The other thing I ran into is when I was actually able to open Dark Zone chests, either through having the right level or using Dark Zone keys, because there's two ways you open chests. You have to be a certain level, or you have to have the key to open it. And different chests you can tell like different chests look different ways, so you can distinct which chest's which. But when I was able to open some of these chests, all I got was like fucking green or blue gear, and I was hunting for purple gear. Now I imagine that's only a beta thing, like they didn't want people to get too high of gear without going to the Dark Zone vendors. I don't think they wanted anybody to even really have like an all purple mixed with like yellow sets. Purple is superior, blue is specialized, I think green is like uncommon, and yellow or orange is high end. But by the fucking end of the beta, I got all my fucking purple gear, dog. I had like a bunch of purple guns, and I had like a full set of purple gear, and then I had like the 2 high-end weapons you could get in the beta too. I put a lot of effort in. I fucking sunk a lot of hours into the beta and the Dark Zone. One thing I think is nice though is when you open Dark Zone chests, and I believe this is only the ones you have to use Dark Zone keys for. Because you get Dark Zone keys kind of randomly. You get them through killing like NPCs and I think players and stuff who are rogue agents. When you open a Dark Zone chest that requires a Dark Zone key, you get like 1,000 Dark Zone points or whatever, Dark Zone monies, whatever. And I think that's nice, because even if you don't get like the gear you wanted or the quality gear you wanted, you still get rewarded for taking the chance and opening the chest. So it's kind of like a lottery system gear-wise, but you always have that guaranteed reward that you can use to get better gear. And you can also always just sell the fucking green gear you don't want after you've extracted it. So the Dark Zone was very interesting. I think another thing too is they need to up areas NPCs appear, because there was too many instances where we were wandering around the Dark Zone just like looking for shit to kill. And mostly the NPCs seem to spawn at the landmarks. Landmarks are marked on the map by a camera symbol and surrounded by a blue box. NPCs usually seem to spawn in those areas, not always. Like there was a long stretch landmark, I think it was like Chinatown or something, where there were no NPCs. I've never seen any NPCs spawn there. But like most of the other areas, you'd see them spawn, like the sports shop and stuff like that. But I think there needs to be like more areas for the NPCs to spawn, so that you always have shit to kill. Because if you don't have shit to kill in the Dark Zone, well then you're either gonna get bored and leave the Dark Zone, or you're gonna turn to killing other players. And then there were another issue, because there wasn't many issues, but the issues with the game mostly seem to be Dark Zone oriented. And the last issue that was Dark Zone oriented that I can think of is there was this instance, and this happened in Mundane Matt, where you would go, you could become like invisible somehow, and while you were invisible you could move like anywhere on the map and kill anybody, and you could be in manhunt status and let the timer wear up and nobody could see you. And this actually happened because we were getting shot by this one invisible guy. Something happened to him though, because he like glitched back out of invisibility mode and fucking took off. We chased him so far. And that was another cool thing too, is like when people go into rogue agent mode, it seems to like unite the rest of the Dark Zone together, and you're chasing after the one or multiple rogue agents, and if they're manhunt status, then everybody's chasing after these guys. But there was a lot of interesting tactics too, like leading people through, like rogue agents would lead you through areas where they knew NPCs were, and that would slow the people chasing them down and shit. And it was so, like, there's so many things I could go on and talk about, but I don't want this video to be too long for you guys. I just kind of want to talk about the beta, say how much fun I had, because I did have a lot of fun playing the beta, and a lot of fun playing it with both the guys I met on Xbox. I had a lot of fun playing with Mundane Matt, Double XP, or Double X Block Gaming, and my pal Brian. And we're gonna be doing like a weekly thing where we get together, talk about the Division, both leading up to the release of the game and the release of the game. I'm still kind of working on that, figuring out what we're gonna do for this short film that I want to do for the Division. But the Division definitely has my full attention. I am not gonna I had to pre-order to get access to the beta. It will be a day one purchase for me. I might buy it on multiple systems, I might not. Then the only reason I'm gonna buy it on multiple systems, let me be clear here, it's and this came up before, the only reason I would buy it on multiple systems is because I have people I can play it with on those systems. So it'd probably be, for me, I would buy it on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, because I know people who I could play it with on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. PC, not so much. I don't have as many Steam friends that played the beta, so I don't really know who I would play it with on PC. So, and another nice thing about the Division is you can go it alone, and you can have a very interesting time. Like I said earlier, I was streaming for like the first several hours. I was going it alone, and I had a fun time. I had an interesting time exploring the world, taking down enemies, saving people, stuff like that. And then you can also go it with friends, and you can also have a fun time too. And like each experience is different. Like if you're going it alone, then you tend to be going through things slower. You're not as rushed by like other players wanting to get to wherever you have to go or whatever. So you get to explore the world more. So I would actually encourage you to kind of go it alone a bit at first, take your time, look around the world, and then link up with your buddies and kind of play together. Because I noticed when I was playing with friends, I was more inclined to get here, do this thing, than I was to kind of stop and look around, explore, stuff like that. Though we did take time to explore, it wasn't as in-depth of an exploration as when I was playing by myself on the Xbox beta. So overall, there are a couple things that need to be fixed in the beta, though I'm sure these issues have been addressed. The closed beta test, I think, went over very well. Hopefully Ubisoft got a lot of feedback that they can use to fix these couple issues, make sure any more issues don't crop up in the full game when it comes out in March, and hopefully the game will meet all my expectations. I'm 99% sure it will. I just gotta hold out that 1% as caution. But yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun playing it on both betas, and hopefully everybody who gets the game will be very satisfied with it. And people really need to stop comparing it to Destiny, because it is not Destiny. It's not like Destiny. The only way it's like Destiny is in the fact that they're both shooters, they're both open world type games, and they're both kind of RPG MMO type games. But other than that, I mean, The Division does things way differently than Destiny. It's got a cover-based system, it's third person, it's got way more weapons options. Even with Destiny Year 1 and 2, I can guarantee The Division has such a larger variety of weapons, because they're basically using like real-world weapons, and that's very nice. And you got like all these attachments you can put on that have different stats, and it looks like, and I'm pretty sure this is the case, that there's going to be like multiple variants of each weapon. Because like the Vector in some of the trailers we saw had a stock and a long magazine, whereas the one in the beta was a tactical Vector, had no stock, had a short magazine that was only 20 round mag. So I hope so too, because that would add even more detail. You have like tactical variant, you have like different variants of different guns for different uses, and they would have like different stats. So like the tactical Vector would have like a higher hip fire rate, and have like a faster reload, whereas like the regular Vector with the longer magazine and the stock would have like a lower hip fire rate because the stock would get in the way, and but it would have better stability, and it would have a higher magazine count or a higher round count, but it would have a slower reload speed than the tactical Vector. Stuff like that will make, like, you'll have so many decisions in how you want to look, what role you want to play, whether you want to be like the in-your-face UQB guy, if you want to do things more traditional, have like a rifle and a shotgun or something, or if you want to play like the long-range marksman using like a bolt-action rifle, a designated marksman rifle, and like have an SMG for when you have to get in somebody's face, or when somebody tries to get in your face, or you can do a shotgun or whatever. There's going to be a lot of different options in how you play the game, and it's going to allow for so much customization, and it'll shape everybody's individual experience in a way that Destiny just really can't. So, I think I'm going to wrap this video up here. If there's anything I forgot to mention, anything you guys think I forgot to mention at least, let me know in the comments section below. Let me know your guys' opinion on the beta. Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys get to play it? If not, did you check out the footage or check out the live stream I did? If you did play the beta, did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? What did you like? What did you hate? I always love hearing comments from people. I always love reading comments from people, rather, because you can't hear comments. I've tried to listen to the comments, and they don't speak. It's just a fucking bunch of text, you know? But anyway, yeah, so let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions in the comments section. and if you guys are excited for the beta, if you guys aren't excited for the beta, and I'll be getting together with Mundane Matt and Double X Black and Brian when the game comes out, and we'll also be doing our weekly discussions on the game leading up to the launch of the game, or the release and subsequent launch of the game. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button, and if you guys happen to be new here, don't forget to subscribe as well. This has been Devon with Gaming in Progress, and I will see you guys in the next video.